What if I told you that one of the most celebrated health food seniors are told to eat every single morning is actually robbing your aging joints and bones of the very strength they desperately need to carry you through your golden years, and that a humble, inexpensive cheese that most people completely overlook has the power to do something for your body after age 75 that no egg can even come close to matching? I know that sounds hard to believe. I've been practicing orthopedic surgery and sports medicine for over 2 decades, and even I was stunned when I sat down and compared the full nutritional profile of these two foods side by side through the lens of what an aging musculoskeletal system genuinely requires. So stay with me for the next few minutes, because what I'm about to share with you could genuinely change the way you eat, the way you move, and the quality of the rest of your life. Let's start with the foundation, because before we talk about which cheese is outperforming eggs for people over 75, you need to understand what is actually happening inside your body at that stage of life. After the age of 70, your body undergoes changes that most doctors simply don't take the time to explain to their patients. Muscle loss, which we call sarcopenia, accelerates dramatically. Studies show that after 70, you can lose between 1 and 2% of your muscle mass every single year if you're not eating and moving correctly. Now that might not sound like much, but compound that over 5 or 10 years, and you're looking at someone who was fully independent and strong, becoming someone who struggles to rise from a chair, someone who falls more easily, someone whose quality of life shrinks year by year. Alongside this, your bones are in a constant battle. Osteoclasts, which are the cells that break down bone tissue, begin to outpace osteoblasts, which are the cells that build new bone. This imbalance is why fractures become so much more devastating and dangerous after 75. A hip fracture at 80 is not the same as a broken bone at 40. The statistics are sobering. Up to 30% of older adults who suffer a hip fracture do not survive beyond 1 year. So the question of what you're feeding your body at this stage of life isn't just about wellness, it's about survival and independence. Now, eggs have had a well-deserved reputation for decades. They are a complete protein source. They contain all 9 essential amino acids, they have healthy fats, choline for brain health, and they are relatively inexpensive and easy to prepare. I want to be clear, I am not telling you that eggs are bad. For most age groups, eggs are an excellent food. But here is the critical nuance that changes everything when we're talking specifically about adults over 75. The protein in eggs, while complete, is not optimized for what the aging musculoskeletal system craves most. And more importantly, eggs are almost entirely devoid of one specific compound that becomes the single most urgent nutritional priority after age 75. That compound is calcium combined with a very particular amino acid profile optimized for connective tissue synthesis. And the cheese I'm going to tell you about delivers both of these things in a form that is remarkably bioavailable for aging digestive systems, which, and this is crucial, absorb nutrients far less efficiently than younger digestive systems do. The cheese I am talking about is ricotta, specifically whole milk ricotta. And before you laugh or scroll away, let me walk you through exactly why this soft, creamy, mild-tasting cheese is nothing short of a superfood for the over 75 body. Ricotta is unique among cheeses because of how it's made. Unlike most cheeses which are produced from curds, ricotta is made from whey, the liquid that remains after cheese has been produced. This is enormously significant from a nutritional standpoint, because whey protein is the most bioavailable form of dairy protein on the planet. It is absorbed faster, utilized more efficiently, and triggers muscle protein synthesis more powerfully than virtually any other protein source. When your body is 75 or older and its ability to absorb and utilize protein has declined, this bioavailability isn't a luxury, it is a necessity. A cup of whole milk ricotta delivers approximately 28 grams of highly bioavailable whey-based protein. And this is where ricotta begins, pulling far ahead of eggs in the context of senior nutrition. But protein alone doesn't tell the whole story, and this is where I want you to really pay attention, because the next part is what most mainstream nutrition advice completely misses. Whole milk ricotta contains a calcium content that is frankly extraordinary. A single cup provides over 500 milligrams of calcium. That's more than half the daily recommended intake for adults over 70, which stands at 1,200 milligrams per day. Now compare that to eggs. One large egg contains roughly 25 to 30 milligrams of calcium. That means you would need to eat approximately 17 to 20 eggs to get the same calcium you get from 1 cup of ricotta. That's the 1000 times better claim put in biological context. And when you think about bone density, joint health, and the prevention of fractures in someone over 75, this difference is life-altering. Calcium is the structural backbone of your bones. Without adequate calcium, your body begins pulling it from the bones themselves to maintain blood calcium levels for vital functions like heart rhythm and nerve signaling. This is the mechanism by which osteoporosis silently develops over years, and why so many older adults end up with bones that fracture from something as minor as a stumble or a cough. Now let me address the fat question, because I know some of you are thinking about it. Whole milk ricotta does contain saturated fat, about 16 grams per cup. Current research, however, has considerably softened the old panic around saturated fat, particularly dairy saturated fat, for older adults. The most recent data suggests that for people over 70, the risk of being too lean or too nutritionally deficient is far more dangerous than the risk from moderate saturated fat consumption in the context of an otherwise balanced diet. When we're talking about someone whose primary health risks are muscle wasting, falls and fractures, not cardiovascular disease driven by obesity, the calculus changes completely. The fat in ricotta actually helps absorb fat-soluble vitamins, including vitamin D, which is absolutely critical for calcium absorption. Here's something that surprises many of my patients. You can consume all the calcium in the world, but without adequate vitamin D, your intestines simply won't absorb it properly. The fat in whole milk ricotta acts as a vehicle for this absorption process, making the calcium and any vitamin D you've taken more usable by your body. Speaking of vitamin D, this is a bridge I want to build carefully, because seniors over 75 are the most vitamin D deficient population in the developed world. Skin becomes less efficient at synthesizing vitamin D from sunlight as we age. The kidneys become less efficient at activating it, and the gut becomes less efficient at absorbing it. This triple deficit means that the combination of ricotta's calcium, dietary fat for fat-soluble vitamin absorption, and a vitamin D supplement, ideally 1000 to 2000 IU daily, though you should always confirm this with your physician, creates a nutritional synergy that is genuinely powerful for bone preservation in older adults. Let me now talk about something equally important that ricotta brings to the table, its leucine content. Leucine is a branched-chain amino acid, and it is, without exaggeration, the most important single amino acid for preventing muscle loss in older adults. Research from multiple institutions, including studies at the University of Texas Medical Branch, has consistently shown that leucine has a unique ability to directly stimulate muscle protein synthesis, essentially signaling to your muscle cells that it's time to grow and repair. Whey protein, which is the foundation of ricotta, is exceptionally rich in leucine. This is one of the primary reasons that whey-based proteins outperform other protein sources for sarcopenia prevention in elderly populations. Compare this to the egg, which is a fine protein source but has a lower leucine concentration per gram of protein than whey-based dairy. For a 78-year-old working to preserve independence and mobility, this distinction matters enormously in practice. Now I want to spend a moment talking about the practical realities of eating well at 75 and beyond, because nutrition advice that ignores real life is useless. Many older adults struggle with appetite. Their sense of hunger diminishes, food becomes less enjoyable, chewing can be difficult if dental health has declined. Cooking large, complicated meals becomes burdensome, especially for those living alone. This is where ricotta's versatility becomes one of its greatest hidden strengths. It is soft, creamy, and gentle on sensitive mouths and digestive systems. It requires no chewing effort. It can be stirred into scrambled eggs to boost their protein and calcium content simultaneously. It can be spread on whole grain toast with a drizzle of honey. It can be blended into a smoothie. It can be layered into a baked dish. It can be eaten by the spoonful straight from the container. For an older adult who struggles to maintain their nutritional intake, ricotta removes nearly every barrier to adequate protein and calcium consumption. That ease of use is not a trivial benefit. It is a clinically meaningful advantage. I also want to address the concern about lactose intolerance, because a significant percentage of older adults believe they cannot tolerate dairy. Here's what's important to understand. Ricotta, particularly the whole milk variety, contains relatively low levels of lactose compared to fluid milk. Many people who cannot tolerate a glass of milk find that they can eat ricotta without discomfort because the whey-making process and the cheese's structure result in lower lactose concentrations. If you've been avoiding dairy because of past digestive discomfort, it is absolutely worth trying ricotta in small amounts and observing how your body responds, ideally under the guidance of your healthcare provider. Let me now bring this into an even broader clinical perspective. In my years of practice, the patients who age most successfully, the ones who remain mobile, independent, clear-headed, and out of my operating room, are almost universally the ones who prioritize protein and calcium consistently across decades. They don't rely on one single superfood. They build dietary patterns that deliver adequate building blocks for bone and muscle day after day. What I'm recommending today is not that you replace eggs with ricotta. What I'm recommending is that you add ricotta as a cornerstone food in your over 75 dietary strategy, in the same way you might add weight-bearing exercise as a cornerstone of your physical routine. These things compound. A cup of whole milk ricotta several times per week, combined with regular walking, resistance exercise appropriate for your fitness level, adequate hydration, and sensible overall nutrition is the kind of intervention that doesn't just improve a lab number, it changes trajectories. It is the difference between a 78-year-old who falls and fractures a hip and one who stumbles and recovers. It is the difference between someone who needs help getting dressed and someone who still gardens and travels. I want to close with one more point that I think is absolutely critical and that your general practitioner may not have told you. After age 75, your body's ability to synthesize its own collagen, the structural protein that forms the matrix of your bones, cartilage, tendons and ligaments, declines sharply. This is why joints ache more, why skin becomes more fragile, and why recovery from injury slows so dramatically. Ricotta's amino acid profile, particularly its glycine, proline and hydroxyproline content from the whey, provides the raw materials your body needs to continue building collagen. It is not a magic cure, nothing is, but it is a genuine, evidence-informed, practical contribution to the structural integrity of your entire musculoskeletal system. Every cup of ricotta you eat is in some small but real way helping your body repair and maintain the connective tissue that keeps you upright, moving and pain-free. So let's bring it all home. After age 75, your body's nutritional priorities shift in ways that most dietary advice simply doesn't account for. Muscle preservation requires highly bioavailable leucine-rich protein, and whole milk ricotta made from whey delivers this more effectively than eggs. Bone strength requires abundant dietary calcium, and a single cup of ricotta provides more calcium than 17 to 20 eggs combined. Connective tissue repair requires the right amino acid building blocks, and ricotta's whey protein profile supplies these directly. And real-world adherence requires a food that is soft, versatile, gentle on the gut, and easy to prepare. And on every single one of those counts, ricotta stands alone. None of this means eggs are your enemy. It means that after 75, ricotta deserves a place at your table that most people have never given it, and the evidence supporting that place is compelling. If you found this information valuable and you want to keep protecting your health, your independence and your quality of life with science-backed guidance you can actually use, make sure to subscribe to this channel, give this video a like so it reaches more people who need to hear it, and drop a comment below telling me what health topic you want me to break down next, because your next 20 years deserve the best information available.